Two important pieces returned to practice today, and one was missing. Welcome to the ACME Oyster House Afternoon Wrap. I'm Cindy Robinson, joined by John DeShazier here at the Oshner Sports Performance Center. The Saints have returned to practice for another day, preparing for this Rams matchup on Sunday. Now, JD, we mentioned two people have returned to practice and one was missing. What are the updates with that?
You know, a couple of guys were dinged up. Max Unger, the center, he missed practice yesterday, as well as Michael Thomas, receiver. We felt like they were minor things. Those guys were limited yesterday, and both were, we think, full practice today. They were at least there during the portion of practice that we were able to see. The huge guy that was missing was running back Alvin Kamara. Now, we hear that he was ill, but he was not present during the portion of practice that we could see. And, of course, he's a huge cog to what the Saints want to do offensively, so we'll continue to monitor that because Alvin, already leads the team in touchdowns with 9. I had 14 last year during his NFL Rookie of the Year campaign, and he's a huge part of what they want to do in terms of running the ball, catching the ball, especially against a really good Rams defense. So we'll continue to monitor that, but good to see the other two guys back, Max Unger and Michael Thomas, and Alvin Kamara. Will continue to watch and see exactly what happens there.
Now, we know this game is a huge test for the Saints. Both sides of the ball for the Rams are really good. Offensively, they have the wide receiver trio in Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, and Cooper Kupp is set to return. Now, the DBs know that it's going to be a tall task for them this weekend.
They're in a great system, and they know how to use those guys. And they got some talent. So, I mean, I feel like they're in a great system. They're doing a good job over there, but we're gonna stop it.
You gotta look forward to challenges like this, man. This puts you up against the best, and it definitely sees where you rank against the best. So we definitely looking forward to this.
They like to have their receivers inside the numbers a lot, and they like to complete a lot of passes inside the hashes. So we just got to make sure we know that and try to eliminate those completions. You got to be disciplined. Your eye discipline has to be just perfect, and you can't have your eyes in the backfield. You got to just read your keys as best as you can and make plays.
Now, even though we talked about the Rams defensive line yesterday, they're good enough to keep talking about all week. We caught up with Ryan Ramczyk in the locker room.
It's going to be a challenge this week for sure. They're really good players. All their guys have special talents and good football players, so it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a tough game, but I think we're ready for it. I know we're meshing as an offensive line and playing pretty well right now, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know you don't specifically have to go against Sue and Donald a whole lot, but when you look at those guys on film, what stands out about those two guys at defensive tackle?
I think their ability to rush you in different ways. I know Donald is he's quick. He uses his hands well. He's quick. Sue has really good power. So it's a couple of things that I've seen through the week.
Yeah. You said this offensive line is meshing. Do you feel like you guys are playing as well as you have at any point in this season?
I don't know if you could pinpoint one thing or the other, but I think overall we've been playing really well and getting better and better each week.
Earlier we heard P.J. Williams talk about that Rams offense. JD, P.J. had a pretty good game this past weekend against the Vikings, and he came out with an award.
Yeah, good enough to be NFC Defensive Player of the Week. P.J. really kind of struggled early in that game from the slot, but he kind of warmed to the task as it went along. He ended up with an interception, return for a touchdown, 45 yards, second interception of his career. A huge play for the Saints. And he also collaborated with linebacker Alex Anzalone on a forced fumble against Adam Thielen at the end of the first half, and the Saints were able to turn that into a touchdown also. So he had a really good comeback game for himself after struggling early.
And it's safe to say PJ's pretty pleased with himself.
Man, I'm definitely happy, man. That's a great accomplishment. Definitely a good thing, but especially when I feel like I ain't playing my best game. So I feel like it's definitely motivation for me, definitely to be able to do that again sometime and definitely play a lot better.
Okay, JD, before we wrap this up, is there any updates from practice today?
Yeah, we know that Marcus Davenport has been walking around in that boot, so the defensive end, the rookie defensive end, was not during practice that we were able to see. We didn't see him out there. But defensive lineman Mitch Lavin was back on the practice field, and that's a good sight to see. He's been out with a neck injury, was inactive for the last game, so certainly good to see him back on the practice field because he might have to be active on Sunday's game if Marcus Davenport can't go.
Make sure you guys stay tuned to NorthernSaints.com and check out those injury reports and any other updates you may need from the Saints. I'm Cindy Robinson, joined by John DeShazier.